You said earlier that the quality of the people at the top will shift in the future, but the percentage ratio of the wealthy to everyone else will likely stay about the same. I believe that if the quality of the top does change, then the general level will rise too, because more creative processes will start flowing into our lives, and those in the upper layers will still handle the management processes, acting like both a separator and a catalyst for the processes being formed across the planet, and they'll redistribute them across the collective unconscious of humanity.
You know what I love about asking you questions, Nicole? When you answer, I instantly get vivid examples like this one. People who hold power or control large amounts of money, they're like the person calculating a construction budget, or like an air traffic controller at an airport. He knows when and where each plane should land and take off, so it's all safe. That's just his job. He operates this huge system. Some people are more comfortable being the pilot, just following the controller's instructions on when and where to land. Others would rather be the passenger, sipping coffee and watching through the window as the plane takes off or lands. And it's all just functional. Because some people might think, hey, we all want to be the air traffic controller and run the whole show. No one even needs to fly anymore. Or we'll just sit here and tell everyone else when to land and when to take off. Same story. What matters is the quality of what we do, and that quality is defined by the enjoyment we get from doing it, and the effectiveness that naturally flows from that joy when we're doing something professionally.
What was the question again?
We were talking about why a small number of people hold so many resources. I mean, why would we need a bunch of air traffic controllers when we could just fly the planes instead?
So right now they hold a more dominant modeling role.
But everything still depends on them. They make global decisions in economics, politics, and how resources are used. And often that goes completely against what's actually beneficial. Because when they rely on just one cause and effect logic and only certain arguments and ignore others, like in the case of that one company. Remember the name. They push for chemical industry expansion and making white paper out of wood pulp.
DuPont?
There was major competition from paper made out of hemp, so they had to launch an information campaign
DuPont.
to ban all hemp based on the tiny amount of it that contained cannabinoids. And the result? We went down a path of deforestation and river pollution.
And that same company caused what's been called the American Chernobyl.
Yeah, and I think they ended up paying, what was it, like $300 million? I don't remember exactly.
Back then, that was insane money.
But that's what you call a toxic company, one that pushed humanity down a destructive path. I believe a lot of the wars we've seen might not have happened if that company hadn't done what it did. So when decisions are made based on politics rather than ecology, they're not helpful. For example, we banned plastic, which yes, is harmful, but started using way more wood for paper bags and paper straws, and that just leads to even more deforestation. And there was an alternative. Maybe I'm speaking from pain here, but if any entrepreneurs are listening, industrial hemp is a real solution. You can make paper from it, cups, Tetra Paks,
Plastic bottles.
even plastic cars. As Ford once said, that plastic was 9 times stronger than steel. And it's eco-friendly. It naturally decomposes. These little decisions by uninformed people in politics lead to the serious catastrophes we're facing now. So what is love, really? It's when all the factors and possibilities are taken into account. But when someone's worldview starts shaping their stance on how they interact with the world, we can always look at a country's laws. What are they based on? Fear and punishment, or encouragement and genuine interest? As we've said before about finance, if people paid less tax the more money they earned, the state would still get its share. Then people would be motivated to make the country wealthier by doing more for themselves.
I just wanted to say, you've always said that those up there are a reflection of the collective down here. That's always how it's worked.
Like the idea that the micro
reflects the macro.
So, who's influencing whom? Macro to micro or micro to macro? It's mutual. It's like how Apple influences its founders and the founders influence Apple. Their combined internal intention and direction determine the path they take.
don't you still get the feeling that the top is more powerful? It's still the macro, and macro is denser.
It's always denser. It's like our unconscious, shaped by knowledge.
So to change inertia, macro inertia, we need to push harder on the micro level?
No need to push at all, at least not in terms of actions.
But in terms of scale?
It's about states of being. One person can change the world if, in their deepest experience, they feel love. And love is the harmony of all the processes we interact with, knowing that it's part of a divine and natural plan. The more aligned we are with it, the more things will harmonize. Everything began from a single point of harmony, and as that point expanded into the universe, it remained connected to everything. And when we change those deep internal states of agreement with the world, it automatically self-adjusts and clears the errors. What does that mean? That each of us, by transforming ourselves and deepening into happiness, joy, excitement, playfulness, and that I am a man or I am a woman energy, we can have a global impact on the top, because that top is formed by our deepest inner states.
But don't we still need a certain scale, or is it more about depth? You're saying one person can shift.
A deep state of happiness is only possible when background anxiety fades. And anxiety is a byproduct of beliefs and laws that, for some reason, have become more important to a person than their life itself and the natural flow of what's happening.
Right now, in Europe and the US, people spend the majority of their income on health insurance. How do you think healthcare and wellness funding will evolve in the future, based on what we know today and the general healthcare models different countries use?
We're going to be talking about a quantum leap in medicine. What we've had so far wasn't really medicine, more like a money-making machine with slogans that often contradicted the actual practices. But what's coming is true human-centered medicine, a minimal set of technologies that deliver maximum results. To put it simply, in the future scenario we're aiming for in Futurology, I see specific people using their energy information fields to heal others. They'll train for it because they'll naturally have this gift. We'll think of them like saints or miracle workers, like the ones religions have always spoken of. And the newest technologies will be based on electromagnetic vibrations and frequencies aligned with kindness, love, and the body's natural hormones, all the elements that trigger restorative processes. We'll work with melatonin and many other ingredients that help rebuild the physical body. And if someone suffers a severe injury or a life-threatening condition, this equipment will be able to handle even the most extreme cases, triggering instant regeneration of whatever has gone wrong in the body. I imagine it will look something like a horizontal tanning bed or a cryo chamber. You lie down, it closes around you, and you can go in for prevention, wellness, rejuvenation, or to rebalance your dopamine, serotonin, and endorphin levels. It'll be like updating your internal software, syncing with planet Earth. Or if something unexpected happens, it'll offer full restoration, organs, physical body, all your systems brought back into balance.
Let's consider your answer a teaser for our upcoming episodes on health and youth. But coming back to the financial side, do you think the current trends in healthcare systems will change, at least in the near future? People in the US and Europe are suffering because they're handing over all their money.
They're not exactly suffering, they just can't accept it calmly.
Or maybe they already do.
We have to understand.
It's just how the system works.
We need to understand that as long as everything is built on a trade-based model, most of the money we pay goes to enriching others and not to our actual health. To put it simply, people won't engage in something if it doesn't make them money. But at some point, profit becomes more important than the actual service they're offering. That's when insurance companies start inventing restrictions to secure their own financial well-being. For example, I go to the dentist and I'm paying a huge monthly insurance premium. It's seriously huge, and it's based on my salary. Then the insurance company tells me, we'll cover no more than 30% of the service you're getting. And suddenly they've decided they have the right to choose which procedures I'll get and what quality materials will be used to fix my tooth, which ones they'll pay for and which they won't. And of course, they'll only cover the cheapest ones. Now, you see what I'm saying? So basically, 1 month of insurance cost me 5 times more than a single visit to the dentist. But even though I pay it every month, I only get back around 30% of that cost. And on top of that, they tell me what I can and can't do, what they will and won't cover, and they take time to decide. I have to wait around while they determine whether or not I deserve the 30%. Meanwhile, I want a healthy tooth today, and the dentist is ready to do the work. And if this kind of system exists, and it does in the US, as Canada, and Europe, then what we're seeing is a society in decline. Our job is to completely change that. We need to build a mechanism, and that's something financial analysts can do. They can study needs and capacities, calculate the averages, and make sure that people, not insurance companies, come first. Because these companies were created with one goal in mind: to make money. Remember how we talked about this? When specialists, whether in psychology, massage, acupuncture, or osteopathy, then came to us and we gave them access to a large number of people, what happened? Not all of them, but most. Their mindset shifted a bit and they raised their rates because they had more clients. And instead of focusing on helping people, they shifted toward making money off of people. And that led to a drop in the quality of what they offered.
That's the social layer between actual health and what people could access through innovations and developments in the healthcare field.
We need to understand that as long as commerce remains a principle in medicine, medicine will continue to harm people. But if a system is created where the goal for every staff member and every insurance company is to increase the number of people who recover and reach peak health thanks to their insurance, then the overall quality of life will rise and efficiency will go way up. Because when their focus is on their own profit, some will subconsciously suggest complex surgeries when simpler, more effective options exist but aren't profitable, while others will cut costs on patients they've insured just to make more money. And in the end, both sides lose. Do good things more, and life will repay you generously.
Yes, there are a lot of different factors at play here. I think we'll revisit this from another angle in a future episode focused on health. Next question. If the human body contains enough electricity to power several cities, will it be possible in the future to mine digital currency using just the energy of our own bodies?
I would love that to be theoretically true, but when I look at it practically, I think it would surprise a lot of people. The thing is, once we learn how to extract the energy field, which we haven't really explored yet, or figured out how to convert properly, it'll change everything. I mean, when a generator runs, we capture its electromagnetic field to get an output. That energy can be physical or electrical. It works both ways. And we also have converters. For example, from direct current to alternating current to increase amperage or voltage. So once we tap into that correlation, just like with homeopathy, where higher dilutions actually produce stronger effects than chemical drugs, the more it's diluted, the stronger the impact. I recently heard from some astrophysicists that the highest energy to mass ratio isn't found in the sun like we used to think, or even within our solar system. It's actually in humans. According to their calculations, the human body emits, on average, 10,000 times more energy per unit of mass than the sun. So take me, for example. I weigh about 90 kilograms. If you took 90 kilos of the sun and compared it to me, I'd be generating 10,000 times more energy. This means we carry enormous untapped potential. And if we can activate a system to extract the electrical field, like I've said before, our role here is to radiate energy, energy that is harvested by other civilizations that know how to use it. Entire world civilizations, even planets are built on that energy. And if you read Robert Monroe, even though he wasn't a specialist, he described how massive streams of energy are being drawn from us. And we look like energy farms, like dairy cows bred to be milked. Anastasia also said, you have no idea how much potential is inside every person. And so often that potential is blocked simply because our worldview is stuck in rigid, biased, negative thinking. So when we activate this system, and I say when, not if, that energy will be so cheap that even completely untalented, inefficient people could mine with it, because it'll require so little. A single person just staying healthy and in a good mood could power almost an entire city through a converter. And yes, those people will exist. They'll get paid for it. First a lot, then less and less, and eventually it'll just be an extra function.
The way I see it, this question is more about how we perceive the situation, and the fact that humans are the biggest known generators of energy, as physicists say, ties in perfectly with the idea of a global currency. If we learn to read this data from a human being, then energy potential could literally become the world's main currency.
Yes, you nailed it. But the truth is, we have way more energy potential than we could ever need. And right now, every conflict on this planet is about energy resources, oil, gas, gold, diamonds, water, fertile land, or prime map locations for trade routes. So once we solve the energy problem on Earth, and that could literally happen with the snap of a finger if we start mining human-generated electricity, which is already being harvested by other civilizations, by the way. Even if we just tap 1 to 7%, let's say an average of 3% per person. I know it sounds like science fiction, but 300 years ago, planes, computers, and phones were all science fiction too. Once we unlock this, the entire meaning of life will shift, because survival will no longer be the core issue. The new focus will be on transforming the human being, developing intellect, communication, youthfulness, health, personal expression, fulfillment, emotional depth, and interacting with vast amounts of global information to harmonize it here on Earth.
We'll wrap it up here for now. In our next episode, we'll return to the topic of taxes and dive deeper into finances again.
Yes, all the best to everyone. See you.
Bye.